welcome to day number 4 of Marketing Week 2020, courtesy of the Zambia Institute of Marketing, where marketing is the key to prosperity. My name is Abraham. I've been your director of programs since Monday, and we got 2 more days left, today and tomorrow. And today is actually the last day of live presentations. Tomorrow we'll just have a quick CSR event, courtesy of First National Bank of Zambia, FNB, and then we'll call it a wrap for this Marketing Week 2020. But just to do a little recap before we go into the speakers of today, yesterday we had great speakers come through and talk to us everything to do with agri-business. We started off with the CEO and founder of Moto Holdings Limited, Mwala Moto, a young, vibrant entrepreneur who calls himself the agripreneur, and he's traveled vastly across Africa, across the world, talking to young people, talking to people about agribusiness. And he yesterday gave us hints and ideas on what can be done. He gave us a history on the interventions that have been done. He talked about value addition, talking about expertise, infrastructure, and equipment. He talks about the barriers to access, one of them being unrealistic requirements, others being lack of a social impact. He also talked about SDG linkages, that your business needs to be linked to one of the sustainable development goals so that you can be able to access funding from World Bank, from all these other global organizations. And he also gave advice and said that if you need consultancy services from Moto Holdings Limited, if you're a young farmer, coming up with poultry or chicken business or growing crops, then he's able to give consultancy from that. Thank you very much, Mwala Moto, for coming through yesterday. And then obviously we had Chishala Malikano from Zambi PLC, who came and told us what Zambi is doing and the programs that they have going on. He gave us a history of Zambi and the milestones that they have achieved, getting the ShopRite contract, being able to acquire 3 farms, the Sinazongwe farm, the Mpongwe farm, and being able to be listed on the stock exchange, the Luce, the Lusaka Stock Exchange, and even the London Stock Exchange in the sub-market called AIM. He was able to tell us how big their company is and the different told us about the dairy and the meat division that is able to slaughter 240,000 cattle a year, 100,000 pigs a year, and the day-old chicks able to give about 7.4 million or 22 million actually day-old chicks per year. And the dairy section is able to produce 7.4 liters of milk every year. That is a huge operation. He talks about distribution, a fleet of 240 trucks just to make sure that all their products and all their services get to every corner of Zambia. Indeed, that was impressive. And, he discussed the potential that Zambia has. 58% of the land that we have here in Zambia can be used for agribusiness, but very little percentage of that is being used. So there's a lot of potential that we have here in Zambia for the geographical advantage that we have. We are not landlocked, we are land linked with 8 different countries that are bordering us. He talked about challenges, he talked about recommendations. So I hope that you are taking notes, looking at all those insights and all that information that came to us yesterday from Mwala Moto, from Chishala Malekano, Moto Holdings Limited, and Zambif. Today, we are in for another treat, and today we go across the borders, and we will be talking and hearing from great marketers, seasoned, proven marketers, both on traditional and digital, people who definitely you want to be listening to. And actually, it's a privilege that we have them here because, going to the international conferences where they are normally invited, you would be paying a whole lot of money. So thank you so much, Zambia Institute of Marketing, for bringing international conference speakers right into our offices, into our homes, right here at home for us to be able to listen to them. So after we go on a little short break, play some ads, pay some bills, we'll be coming back and I will be inviting and welcoming and talking about the first speaker. You do not want to miss this. Stay tuned. Marketing Week 2020, day 4. I'll be right back.
I pledge to make every beer moment a responsible one.
I pledge not to drink and drive.
I pledge against gender-based violence.
I pledge to enjoy responsibly.
I pledge against underage drinking.
I pledge to observe a meter distance when drinking from approved locations.
It is your turn to take a stand. Please take the responsible pledge by sharing this video with #ResponsibleTogether.
Oh my, I left my purse at home again.
Excuse me, ma'am. Actually, there's another way you could pay for your bill.
Really? Like how?
First, open the app, then select Merchant Payment, select Scan QR code, scan the code, enter the amount, then confirm your purchase. Or just dial *444#, enter your 4-digit password, select Merchant Payment, enter the merchant code, enter the amount, then confirm your purchase.
Like that?
Yeah, just like that.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Wait.
Welcome back. Thank you very much, the team, the technical team, for that ad break. We are back and we are ready for the first speaker of the day. I am super excited. This is a woman and a half. I tell you, I can't wait to hear what she got to say for us in this Marketing Week 2020. She is the founder and managing director of Bloom Marketing Agency. She's also the founder of Bloom Inside Out, an organization that helps women to support them, equips them, empowers them, and lets them know who they really are and gets the best out of them. She's also the founder of an organization called Makeup Mob, a professional outfit for makeup, for special occasions and all that stuff. She's the SA lead of Women's Entrepreneurship Organization. I don't know if it's WEDO or WEDO. She'll be able to tell us how you pronounce that acronym. She's an international conference speaker. She's also the author of different books. She's currently writing a book called Living Life in Full Bloom. Living Life in Full Bloom. Now, she studied microbiology and biochemistry. Beauty and brains, right? Like microbiology and chemistry, and then you're a creative marketer. How is that? She'll be able to tell us all about that and how those two kind of added together. She is from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, KZN. I should just say KZN. KZN University. So straight out of KZN, straight out of Durban, South Africa. Please welcome her lady herself. She is Nokutula Magwaza. I hope I said that right. Nokutula Magwaza, aka Knox. She will be talking to us about how to be able to develop creativity, to grow creativity in what we're doing as marketers. Stay tuned for Nokutula Magwaza, our first speaker on day 4.
That's fantastic. What a wonderful intro. Thank you so much to the Marketing Institute for having us over from South Africa. It is both an honor and a privilege to join your Marketing Week conference. And as he says, it is the new normal, and we are looking for new ways to market ourselves in order to grow our careers within the creative industry. And it's just incredible. I've been telling everybody that I'm taking a flight to your country, and I'm traveling across Africa. I'm excited about it. Obviously, we are able to do this via virtual connectivity. So thank you so much for having me today. It is an interesting one for me to be speaking about growing my career, or how to grow your career in the creative industry space. For a girl that grew up in the dusty towns of a small coal mining town in Newcastle within South Africa, and ultimately got to be rubbing shoulders with the best creatives in the world in Cannes, south of France. If you told me that when I was probably 13 years old in my town, I would have just thought you were smoking socks or something. So it is an honor once again to be here. Quickly to just introduce myself and give you an idea of how I grew my career, and then share with you lessons from that path for me. In the early 90s, I read a Forbes magazine that profiled the top 100 women, business women in the world. And that is where my fire was ignited to really have a business that can be that well profiled across Africa and hopefully the world. So a desire was born at that time. But obviously being in high school and growing up in a township, I didn't have a plan post-matric. My parents didn't have an education fund post-matric until I had an encounter with a global company that houses global brands that perhaps me and you use almost on a daily basis across Africa and across the world. That is when, again, the second desire was ignited within me to say, I'm not done at high school. I definitely need a degree to be able to work for this company. Fast forward to 95, I get offered this amazing opportunity to work for Unilever. And that's where I sharpened my skills, really refined my skills through production, quality, because obviously I came from a Bachelor of Science, microbiology and biochemistry. But soon what was my own gifting, which is the personality and just who I was, just didn't fit with the laboratory. I challenged my management right there and then, and I said, I don't think I can actually sit in the laboratory. I think I'm fit for sales and marketing. Got an opportunity for sales and marketing, and enjoyed that career for 8 years, worked on local and international brands within Unilever, Lipton Iced Tea, and then local jewels like Raja, eventually Knorr. It soon dawned to me that everything that I kind of learned will be repeated for the next couple of years. And I just was not going to settle down to repeat the same year over and over until I retire. And that's when I decided I am going to resign and founded Bloom Marketing. And the reason I founded Bloom Marketing was because of a challenge I was seeing within the corporate company I was working for. There just wasn't a best way of connecting with the market that I represented. And you know what they say about representation is everything. I just felt the brands didn't understand the mass market, the Black consumer in the market. And Bloom Marketing was founded, and my first client became Unilever. And the credibility for having a big client as Unilever in my agency quickly then made all other corporate companies from Tiger Brands, Vodacom, around South Africa, Ilovo, believe that my agency was capable of offering them the same solutions. So what I'd like to share with you today is really that journey that took me from the 90s to 2003 when I left Unilever and then created this agency. There's evergreen lessons that I picked up from there, that the best skills of turning thoughts into big ideas. Every day I could see how it is actually like to come up with concepts and ideas, big ideations, and really take those to the market, crafting those ideas into big brands, and eventually launching those brands in the local market, and then amplifying their growth to be global brands. People love stories, and that's what I learned at that time at Unilever. And the best way to connect in the market is to tell compelling stories that are really memorable. And that evergreen lesson, that flow from idea to big ideas and big brands has still kept on feeding my agency in terms of the creative process of creating the solutions in the market, I guess. And so for me, the solution and the formula to driving your career and your growth within the corporate world and within the creative industry when you are running an agency, it lies in being obsessed with identifying problems. But don't just identify those problems. Be the one that creates the solutions for those problems. And if you're clear that you are all about creating solutions for problems of our everyday living in the market, for our everyday living in the corporate world, then you will not be without growth, creating opportunities from those corporates. The second thing that I learned was also believing. When you believe you can, and everybody else eventually will believe that you can. So it starts with yourself, backing yourself up, and then the rest of the market will back you up as well. And in believing in myself came with that sense of confidence in what I had to offer the market, the value that I could add in every business that I work in. And soon, before I knew it, there was an acknowledgement and recognition with multiple awards that eventually just was almost like a tipping point because of the publicity and the media coverage of those awards that I kept on winning as soon as I started my business. So obviously that is something that you want to obviously work with. But at the same time, I realized you cannot drive it alone. You cannot be an island in this business journey. And that's when I realized you need to collaborate with a great dream team, call it that. Great minds that may be even smarter than you as the visionary and the founder of your business or your career direction. So you need to collaborate and partner with people in the industry. And then the important relationships that I'd like to highlight that you need and ought to have, number one for me was a sponsor. And I know a lot of you may also know sponsorships in terms of eventing, but this is a person who is very powerful, who has a very strong voice in places that you may not have access to. But that person can speak about you and vouch for you and really say she's credible and she can do this. And fortunately for me, the CEO, the ex-CEO of Unifoods was my sponsor, and still to this day is my sponsor. So when I started my business, and I would just refer to him, and he will also tell me, I referred you to another company, and go do your thing, make it bloom. So that's the first relationship you want to have in your career if you want to drive your growth. A sponsor. Someone who has a voice, someone who has a bigger platform and an influence in that bigger space to speak about your brand in your absence. The second one is a mentor. And the third one is a coach. And I looked at different senior people that were already ahead of me in their agencies that were constantly my mentors. And I eventually found a coach in Cape Town who heads up the Brown Digital Agency, because I wanted to start Bloom Infinite as a digital agency. So constantly, I have these three powerful connections that I keep within my space to ensure that I have a better perspective, a broader perspective in the market in what I'm doing. And then I just want to obviously get to something that I mentioned earlier on, the power of storytelling. In the new normal, in the digital age, the one thing that will not go away is the ability to tell stories that are compelling, that move people to make the decisions or take the decisions that you want them to, and the action that you desire from those stories. And it was also echoed last week by the Chief Marketing Officer of Google Africa, that it is an evergreen skill to tell your story. And obviously, one thing that I'd like to highlight, and I will probably just project one or two slides to help you through it within the time that I have, is to own your story. Yes, there's many other stories that we create every day, and every time you engage with people, even on this platform, I'm telling you a story about my journey. Every day in your office, you are engaging with executives and your colleagues, and you are telling a story every day. It is up to you to own the story, to craft the story, and to make sure that it is differentiated, it is compelling, and it actually helps you stand out so that you are memorable and that they can refer to you or talk about you in a positive way going forward. And so the presentation that I have, I will share it with the Zim Marketing Institute. It is quite long, it's about 30 odd pages, but I want to refer to it because it is what I use often to coach women in business on how do you craft your own personal story in a way that they will say, indeed she lived and she dented this world. And even when you're looking at even old books that I've looked at before, I've read before, The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, he speaks of very small steps, of very, very little things that you do that make a huge difference, eventually create a tipping point. So on a daily basis, you want to be refining your story. You want to ensure that your story is very differentiated and you are able to then not disappear in what we call the sea, the digital sea that we are all currently swimming within in the new normal. So I hope you will indulge me as I show you and share this presentation. I think the host disabled the presentation, so I'll talk through it. So in creating your story, there are very important things that you need to be clear about. It is who you are. You can never create a story and a narrative about yourself without a sense of knowing who you are as an individual. What defines you? You know, who do you want others to say you are? What do you want people to be remembering about you? What do you want it to be said about you? Within that space as well, it is about what do you have to offer this world? And that's where you look at your individual natural gifting. Yes, we go to university and we study. Yes, we work for corporate brands where we refine and we sharpen the iron of our own expertise. But the starting point is your gift. That is pretty much the only thing that sets you apart. If you are in a space that has a lot of other marketing people or creatives in the room, it is how you do it. I love also Simon Sinek. I'm sure you've read about his book about playing the infinite game. He refers to, you cannot choose the game that we are in right now. nor can you choose the rules or change the rules. The rules are pretty set right now. It is a digital era. It is the new normal. If you are not online, you are probably non-existent beyond your immediate area of existence. And then he says the only thing that you have a choice in doing, it is how you play. So what are you offering this market? Which problems are you looking to solve in the market? Why are you doing what you're doing? And that is very important because it speaks to your reason behind, your compelling reasons behind that. And then the best way I often speak about the why area is find out the reason you started the career you are in. Find out the reason why you started this business. If it is to solve problems, do not ever forget that you are here to constantly solve the problems that shift the world, shift your country, or shift the business that you're working within forward. And so it's important to really keep sight of your purpose every day, be purposeful in every action that you take. Where do you want to impact others? And this obviously speaks to defining your vision. Do you want to be an online business? Do you want to be a hybrid business that is online and offline? Do you want to have e-commerce stores online and mix that up with still bricks and mortar in your space where you are? So it is important to really define your market, what I call also your target community. So who do you want to impact? In this day and age, I think it is best to build communities as opposed to driving to secure clients. It is not about the target market anymore. It is about the target audience. And you will still approach it in the way that you will approach a target market for a brand, an FMCG brand. So who are the people that you want to impact? Personally, I want to impact women in business. I want to ensure that my business is aligned to Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which is gender equality. But how do we secure, or how do we reach the gender equality without capacitating, celebrating, developing, profiling, buying from women, and ensuring that women are actually getting that rightful position of core leadership in state companies, even in government, in big business? And so my target audience and my community is women in business and those that are in corporate who are still thinking, one of these days, I do want to transition from a corporate career into starting a business. And that's where I help them with the purpose journey of defining exactly their purpose and why they want to be in business. So it is important to know where you want to operate, who you want to impact, and when do you want to obviously be doing this. Time and timing is of essence, because with every season comes the rules of the season. With every timing comes the rules of the timing. In the space that we are in right now, our cell phones have become a whole media company. Our laptops have enabled us to travel all the way to your country, you know, in a split second. So the timing and the rules of this timing in the 4th industrial revolution, in the new normal, you want to check your company model. You want to check, are you able to leverage the infinite power of digital in pretty much every section of your business within your career? Which skills do you need to leverage and ride the new normal wave so that you are not left behind from riding this wave? And the most important thing to keep in mind in this new normal, in the rules of this time and this timing, is that creativity has always been there. Creativity is about solving problems, coming up with those problems, being innovative. But what is most valuable right now is curating solutions, not just solving problems. What this means is that there's so much information. Google is just throwing it out there. And so you want to ensure that you can offer your target community tailored, structured, save them time, give them the value of everything that they need within that community. So you are creating, plus you've got to curate solutions that are easy to access, that save people money and time. And in a world where data in South Africa. It's probably the most expensive across Africa, if not the world. This is the value you can add for those who are within your community. And what is most important is that you grow with your community. You don't grow on your own, you bring an entire tribe with you so that it can be sustainable and it can have a multiple impact, and in fact, infinite impact, because you keep empowering others that are around you. I do hope that you found what I had to share with you in 15 minutes in building your brand. I do have a huge presentation that I will send through, and I hope you will show up in your authentic self in this time and timing. The rules are authenticity. The rules are about show up in your unique giftings, and then layer your expertise and experience as you learn in the digital space. And that is the best way to fan your flame in the digital era. Thank you for having me.
I pledge to make every beer moment a responsible one.
I pledge not to drink and drive.
I pledge against gender-based violence.
I pledge to enjoy responsibly. I pledge against underage drinking.
I pledge to observe a meter distance when drinking from approved locations.
It is your turn to take a stand. Please take the responsible pledge by sharing this video with #ResponsibleTogether. I pledge to make every beer moment a responsible one.
I pledge not to drink and drive.
I pledge against gender-based violence.
I pledge to enjoy responsibly. I pledge against underage drinking.
I pledge to observe a meter distance when drinking from approved locations.
It is your turn to take a stand. Please take the responsible pledge by sharing this video with #ResponsibleTogether.
Wonderful, wonderful. Bravo, bravo, Madam Knox. Noctula Magwaza there, coming live from KwaZulu Natal, Durban, South Africa, with her wonderful insights. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation, ma'am. We really, really appreciate it. We got questions from the audience. And for the people who are wondering why I have headsets on and all that, is because I need to hear her all the way from Durban. And that is the reason I had to put on my headsets. But the first question, or the first thing I'd like you to kind of talk about a little bit is your motto, and how you want to say it. So your motto is keep blooming, because blooming is the evidence of life. I love that. Keep blooming because blooming is the evidence of life. Do you want to, in under 30 seconds or a minute, just tell us a little bit more about that motto of life that you have, even before we go into the questions from the attendees?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me back on for the Q&A section. I really love that motto. It has fueled me for the entire 16 years of running my agency and establishing a digital agency also over and above that. Where that comes from for me is you've got to know what fuels you. You've got to know those things that get your soul smiling, call it your soul dancing. For me, I call my business journey a faith journey. I know exactly where I need to go to fuel and feed my drive and my passion, if you were to put it that way. So faith for me is a fueler. And then two, surround yourself with people that you can obviously glean off them. As I spoke earlier on, whether it's a mentor, a coach, or your sponsor, it's very important that you feed yourself the right things that actually nurture your growth. It is important to everybody. If you look at my business name, it's about bloom. I believe in growth. I believe that if something has to grow, you've got to nurture it. And so the question to ask yourself is, what do I do every day to nurture my growth? How do I ensure that I stay evergreen? How do I ensure that I am flourishing, I am prospering, I am blooming? So you need to then look at, do I read? Do I attend conferences? Do I attend lives? Do I connect and network with other people in the industry? All of these things are every day fueling my bloom power to flourish infinitely.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Indeed, it's life opening, and it's a model that we can all live on and adapt and make sure that we're doing that. One of the questions that is coming up is on sponsor, mentor, and coach. Somebody is asking, what are the deliberate steps that you can take in order to make sure that you have the right sponsor, right mentor, right coach, and have a good team around you?
Let's see. Hi. I saw the question earlier on around how do I identify a good sponsor. I guess the starting point for me is someone who's always been within the view of your career and your growth, but they are far ahead of you. They're probably sitting in an executive team, or they're sitting in higher places that you dream of, obviously reaching and getting to. But someone who's always had an interest in seeing you develop, or interest in your development. If you are in a corporate space, it could be of what you are working on, has a view of what you are doing in your career every day. And then the mentor has to be someone within the industry that you are interested in, but who's miles ahead of you, who is so experienced, and they've journeyed the same path that you're trying to journey through. So if you are starting an agency, you could look for a mentor from another agency owner that has been in the industry for maybe 2 decades ahead of you. An agency owner that has won multiple awards, and they've got a fantastic team that constantly grows. And that can be someone that mentors you within the industry specific space that you are in. And then a coach doesn't have to work with you, doesn't have to be having a full view of your everyday operation. So I'm a coach to most women in business in South Africa, and it is open obviously across Africa. And all I do every day is to engage once a week or every second week to see progress, to then give direction of areas that you can, focus areas that you can pay attention to, and then hold you accountable and be your accountability partner. But at the same time, be your growth strategist that helps you see a broader perspective and a broader view of the market you can play within, where you may have a very narrow and limited view of where you want to be in your career or in your business. So a coach is someone who can then journey with you, point you in the right direction, but also hold you accountable and help you every single day to widen and broaden your vision to make sure you are growing.
Thank you very much, Nat, for that and for that answer. There's another question here. Seeing that you help women transition from corporate to entrepreneurship, in your experience, do you believe that some women are not up for running their own businesses and are better suited for the corporate world, so they don't have the capacity or what it takes to run their own businesses, and they are better off running in the corporate world and letting somebody lead them? What do you think as somebody who advocates for women leadership?
Well, I truly believe that women can be, and they are powerful, whether they are intrapreneurs, that means they are entrepreneurs within a corporate business, or they're entrepreneurs where they establish their own businesses. It is really true that entrepreneurship is not for everyone, but to have a business-minded focus and an outlook in everything that you do, to have a growth outlook in everything that you do, is what makes you entrepreneurial. It is all about having a business interest in everything that you do. So there are women that will choose to really thrive and be powerful women in leadership within corporate. And that is why the journey of growing, of blooming, it starts with clearly knowing yourself and understanding who you are, because you shouldn't take or feel like it is imposed upon you to be a woman in business when you can be a woman in workplace, to be a leader in business when you can be a leader in a corporate space and be an executive. So it is up to you to make that decision on your destination, but also just define your vision. You want to have impact within a corporate, or you want to have impact independently as an entrepreneur running your own business.
So many people are saying, wonderful presentation, and even asking whether, we'll be able to have a run of the full presentation. I think once you share the presentation with us, we'll be able to give it to all the attendees so that we can be able to go through it. Thank you very much. I mean, I have to ask about the microbiology and is it biochemistry? How did that come about? And then are you doing it? Are you using it? What is up with that?
Oh, that's an interesting one. So I often get asked about this, and for me, it also defines, and in fact, it's an insight on its own, that your degree does not define who you are. Your degree is not a destination. Your degree is a way to open certain doors that can help you sharpen your skills, your giftings, and your natural talent. So you shouldn't obviously be locked into a certain career space because of a degree, when you can be so many other things in this day and age. The definition, you can have multiple careers. You can have online and offline careers. You can have full-time and part-time careers. You can have freelance and full-on contract careers. So I'm planning to use that microbiology and biochemistry to design my own makeup range for Makeup Mob one day. So it will come handy, but it certainly got me thinking in a very analytical and an insightful way, even in marketing going forward. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'm glad to hear that, you know, your makeup mark company will utilize those skills that you have, you know, from microbiology and biochemistry. One last question is on your organization, Bloom Inside Out, and how maybe the young Zambian ladies who are here or entrepreneurs, you know, can be able to get mentorship from you and from your organization, you know, from Bloom Inside Out. How can they reach you? What are the requirements? And you know, is it any lady, is it any woman, or is it do they need to be doing something, you know, just in case there's somebody out there who wants to get in touch with you because of mentorship?
Awesome. Thank you for that. It's a great opportunity to be able to share where I advocate for women and where I'm growing a community of women in leadership within workplace and business. So you can visit www.bloominsideout.co.za. There is a specific page of services there, and then you can fill in a form under coaching. That secures you a free chemistry session with me, where we get to actually talk about where you are and where you desire to be, what your vision is, and then map a path of how we can work together. You can also DM me at Bloom Inside Out on Instagram, or follow Bloom Inside Out on Instagram, or follow me at Knox Bloom also on Instagram, and we can start a conversation there. I'm on every platform, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So you can't say you can't get hold of me, bloominsideout.co.za. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Knox. One last question I've just received from one of our attendees. What are the tips that you can give so that someone can manage their accounts for finance for a small business? As an entrepreneur, someone wants to be able to manage their accounts and their finances very well as a small business. Any tips that you can give, you know, for startups and what you did yourself?
Yeah. Awesome. That's a powerful one, because it is often said that sometimes when we start in business, we lose sight of our numbers. Never to shy away from your numbers and knowing your numbers in business. So the most important thing, I think in my third year of business, I realized that I cannot be all things and everything in my business. I cannot be the founder of the business, be the head of accounts and strategy, and be the finance and accounting manager. So I quickly then got myself an accounting firm that helped me in managing my books from the onset, to just ensure that things are kept above board, and I know exactly how to manage the resources that have been entrusted into my hands for different clients and different projects. You do learn the hard way in the beginning, because I didn't know right there in the beginning that I had to separate my own personal finances from the business finances, and that business finances are not your finances for you to just dip in anytime and whenever you need to, that you separate those two, because those are two different entities. And you can pay yourself as a director and a founder an allowance if you need to, that is recorded within the business as well in terms of what you've used as resources in the business. But as soon as you can, find a small accounting boutique firm that can work with you at the level that you are at. And then obviously there's a lot of other resources that you can use online. Sage is one of them, and we love Sage, and I think you can use it across Africa to manage your books and really know your numbers and know what's happening in your business every day and make informed decisions every month. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Knox Tula Magwaza, straight out of KZN, Durban, South Africa, and that has been her telling us all things to do with being creative, and went even overboard to tell us more about life, about Bloom Inside Out, and even about how to keep our finances. Thank you very much. I really appreciate on behalf of Zim for you making time to come to us and tell us about creating, being creative and being able to harness your opportunities in this digital space that we're in. So on the break, after the break, I'll come back and I will be able to share with you information about our keynote speaker. You don't want to go anywhere. He's about to come next. And after the break, I will introduce him. So stay tuned for our keynote speaker.
Oh my, I left my purse at home again.
Excuse me, ma'am. Actually, there's another way you could pay for your bill.
Really? Like how?
First, open the app, then select Merchant Payment, select Scan QR code, scan the code, enter the amount, then confirm your purchase. Or just dial *444#, enter your 4-digit password, select Merchant Payment, enter the merchant code, enter the amount, then confirm your purchase.
Like that?
Yeah, just like that.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Wait.
Do more with your Indo-Zambia bank account by activating your Indo Mobile and Net Banking. Our Indo Mobile and Indo Net Banking is the most convenient and safest way for you to do your banking needs from anywhere 24 hours a day. Make bill payments and fan transfers, buy airtime, bank to wallet transfers, purchase forex, request statements, monitor accounts, and much more. So do more, stay safe, transact cashless with our Indo Mobile and Net Banking. Indo-Zambia Bank, supporting you, developing Zambia.
Oh my, I left my purse at home again.
Excuse me, ma'am. Actually, there's another way you could pay for your bill.
Really? Like how?
First, open the app, then select Merchant Payment, select Scan QR code, scan the code, enter the amount, then confirm your purchase. Or just dial *444#, enter your 4-digit password, select Merchant Payment, enter the merchant code, enter the amount, then confirm your purchase.
Like that?
Yeah, just like that.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Wait.
With the help of FMB Zambia, we aim to make an impactful difference in the
Welcome back. Thank you for that ad break. Thank you so much for all our sponsors. Indeed, it's been a wonderful time. And I forgot to mention earlier on, yesterday we had the Great Red Debate. All of you tuned in to Diamond TV at 9 p.m. 21 hours. You witnessed for the first time in Zambia, we had our first marketing debate dubbed the Great Red Debate, sponsored by Zanaco. It was brilliant, it was awesome, it was wonderful. Actually, on the comments on the chat box, just go ahead. If you watched it, go ahead and pick the winner. Our moderator, the king of debates, Mr. Costa Mwanza, he didn't give us a winner. So go ahead. Was it Team Traditional or was it Team New Age? Who do you think won that Great Red Debate? First of its kind here in Zambia. It will keep going on every quarter. So let's see who the first winners are for the first time. And then we'll see whether they carry on the day even in the other quarters. We are now ready for our second speaker of the day, and he is our keynote speaker of Marketing Week 2020. He is the CEO and founder of Digit Lab. Digit Lab is a digital marketing agency, out of SA. He's an entrepreneur. He's an international conference speaker, and he's the author of 3 books, and maybe 4. Maybe he's writing one right now. He will tell us. One of those books is 5-Year Mark. Another one is called Renowned, and another one is called Human Centric. 10 years of experience in the digital industry. He believes that technology unlocks our future and is fundamental for our success. He's a digital strategy educator as well. He has a company called Digit Lab Academy, where he educates and mentors people on how to be able to harness the power of digital marketing and advertising. He is a founder also of 2 non-profit organizations helping and supporting entrepreneurs, especially in the digital industry, and especially Black women in the digital industry. Well done there, well done. He graduated with 30 distinctions, get that, 30 distinctions from Durban Institute of Technology. He also has postgraduate diploma from University of KwaZulu-Natal, and he also has an honor in marketing from University of KwaZulu-Natal as well. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are ready. You are ready for our keynote speaker, straight out of University of KwaZulu-Natal, KZN, Durban, South Africa, our keynote speaker, Mr. Mike Saunders. Welcome to Zambia, sir. This is your time. Take it away.
Right, good morning, everybody. Is everybody in place? There's my face on screen. That's a very scary sight. I hope everyone's having a great conference. I'm really honored to be a part of this conference and to be able to share some thoughts and some insights about our journey together as marketers in this post-COVID, post-pandemic society that we're in. What I'm going to do now quickly is share my screen so that you can see a presentation. And I'm also going to just cue you up ahead of time that I will be sharing some links into the chat system just now, about halfway through the presentation, for you to participate in a quick online survey so that we can get a feel for what's happening in the room. And so I'll share that with you at the right time. But just so you know, keep your eye on the chat and I'll bring your attention to it a bit later. So let me share my screen for you, and then we'll take a look at the presentation from there. Right. You should all be seeing my screen. I can see it coming up on the feed there. It is so, I can't actually explain to you how exciting it is for me to share what I'm going to share with you today. I've spent the last 10 years in digital and in marketing specifically, and I have struggled with what it really means to be a digital business, a digital agency, and what it really means to transform businesses in this space. And why I've struggled with that is because I've seen so many people derail and I've seen so many successes take place. And what's been so interesting to me is this concept of human-centric marketing. And at the beginning of this year, just before the pandemic hit the world, I released a book called Human Centric to speak about this particular opportunity. And so when I was asked to come in and speak about opportunity in crisis and how our marketing has been redefined in this world, it was such a great echo of the fact that this presentation, this information that I'm going to share with you today has so much meaning and so much opportunity inside our marketing world today. I want to, right up the front, you can see on this slide at Mike A. Saunders. You can catch me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, pretty much all of them. So please get in touch. Please connect with me. Please, let's have some conversations about marketing in Africa and let's learn from each other. It's going to be a great experience. So please connect with me. It's going to be a really good time and a really great way to connect in the future. And so I want to start off with this journey that took place a number of years ago. A number of years ago, BlackBerry, if you even remember who they were the biggest mobile phone supplier on the planet. They owned the smart phone industry, full stop. And then this new competitor crops out of nowhere, a company that made an iPod and a couple of computers, launches a cell phone that suddenly takes the market by storm and completely obliterates its competition. But the weird thing here is this, is that the iPhone had a 2G connection when the BlackBerry was pushing a 3G connection. It had slower processing speed. It technically and digitally was a sub-inferior product to what BlackBerry were putting on the market. And it shows, for one of the very first times, it shows that technology businesses aren't successful purely on the basis of the fact that they have the latest technologies. So what did Apple do differently? Well, they launched an ecosystem called the App Store, and people could download applications and create applications. And so the world was able to customize their environment, and users were able to customize their environment in a very easy and unique way. Apple provided this ecosystem in a locked down environment that was difficult to be able to get accreditation into for app developers, which meant that we saw a reduction in viruses, a reduction in user experience problems, and all of these things led up to Apple being able to provide a beautiful, customizable product to consumers. And why is that important? Because people want customization, people want personalization, they want convenience. They don't need the latest technology. They just need something that they want, something that they need in their life, something that helps them interact with their friends and family. For many people, the cell phone with all of this technology that was bigger than what took the first group of people to the moon, all of this technology sitting in their pocket was a Facebook app. And that's all they used it for, was to connect with people, or just an email app. And that's all they wanted it to do. So, and other people like myself, we would download apps all day long and use it to run our lives and manage our homes and do all these different things. But we were in the minority. The majority of people wanted something else, something simple. They didn't need the latest technology, the best thing and everything else. So while BlackBerry was focusing on the highest quality audio that you could get through the phone device, Apple were focusing on creating a customer-centered product with inferior technology, but a far superior product at the end of the day. And this is the message that I'm getting across to you, and that I really want you to take home, is that digital, moving into a post-pandemic world, as we move everything into more digital, the fact that we're connecting like this in a room in my house is completely new post-pandemic. But digital is not a technology conversation. It's a people conversation. Because at the other end of tech, there is always people. And people are the reason that tech succeeds or not. Not because they create beautiful tech, but because they will be the users of the technology that you produce. So if you cannot wrap your head around this, you will fail at digital. Because digital, at the end of the day, is how do we connect people through technology to the efforts that we're trying to create. And tech fails, here, listen to this. So tech fails if it fails to add convenience, efficiency, ego, or entertainment value to the lives of people. Now, I'm quite prepared, if you want to touch base with me on social media, to talk this through, and maybe you found other things that people need to be, that they need from technology in order to be able to put this. But I've wrapped it around these 4 things for me: convenience, efficiency, ego, and entertainment. Those are the things that people generally want out of their technology. Make it more convenient for me, make it more efficient for me, make my ego rise, give me a place to speak, a place to be, a place to share my dreams and aspirations, and to build a following and to create influence. And entertain me with games and apps and videos and movies and Netflix and all of these things. And they all kind of muddle up into these 4 sections: convenience, efficiency, ego, and entertainment. And so we look at it like this. So many people see technology as the antithesis of human nature. In other words, they see technology as a threat to our jobs, to our future, to all of these things. And when we think of this in this light, it's important for you to understand something. That if you look at a bicycle is a simple piece of technology. A simple piece of technology that just has a gear and allows you to turn by the pedals to move the bike forward. It's an efficient vehicle. It helps human beings move faster while expending less energy. It's convenient, it's efficient, it's practical. And technology over and over again has proven itself to be the bicycle of the mind. So Steve Jobs said this exact same thing. He said the bicycle is, the PC, or the personal computer, is a bicycle for the mind. It allows our mind to explore further, to get further. It allows us to do all of that by expending less energy to do exactly the same things. So when you think about everything that's coming through, think about it like this. It helps human beings become more efficient, more convenient, and it builds into our lives the space for us to do the things that, to stop doing the things that bog us down and to start doing the things that make us more human. Another way of looking at this is big wave surfers. I'm in Durban. There's a big beachfront down the road, and I'm not a surfer myself, but we watch lots of surfers on the weekend with my kids. And the thing is about these big wave surfers is that when they first started surfing waves that were plus 6 foot, they couldn't get onto the wave. They couldn't mount the wave. And so they'd use jet skis to pull them up so that they could then surf the wave. And so they knew they could surf the wave as long as they could get up, but they didn't know how to get up. So they used a technology called a jet ski to pull them up. And then the funny thing is this, is that today, big wave surfers know how to mount those waves. Technology was just used as a stepping stone for people to find out that they were actually capable and had the potential of being able to mount that wave themselves. And we see this over and over and over again. Technology is not a threat to us. Technology is an opportunity for us to become more human and to really understand who we are, unlocking the potential that we have as human beings. And as we see this over and over again, technology is now embedded in everything that we're doing. Everything. Everything that we're doing has a technology been embedded in it. I can guarantee you now that if you found a person who said, I am technologically illiterate, there are still SMSing people. or they might be emailing people. They're using technology in their world because of the way it is. It's embedded in everything we do. It's in the classroom, it's in the workplace, it's at the home place. Everywhere we go is embedded. It even sits inside contact lenses these days. This is a contact lens that Sony's brought out that allows you to take photos from your contact lens, and it uploads it to the cloud. There's another contact lens like this produced by another technology company that takes your blood sugar while you do this. So for diabetics, what it does is when your sugar is low, it tints your vision red. And when your sugar is too high, when it's too high, it goes red. And when it's too low, it goes blue. And when it's just right, you can see clearly. And so now diabetics are able to know their sugar levels, which is a vital part of their survival, just because of the technology that sits inside their contact lens. A couple of years ago, I was doing research around this, and I found that people were looking at technology being embedded inside the clothes that you wear. And so you could, the case study I saw was that they had a piece of cloth that became their keyboard. And so you would be able to, instead of carrying a keyboard around, just have a cloth that you could unroll and use as a keyboard. Technology is getting smaller, it's getting more apparent, it's getting more efficient, and it's embedding itself in everything we do. We are not asking people today to become digital, to join us on this digital transformation. We're just asking them to look around and accept what's already happened in their world. And so this is the way I used to look at it. This is what how when I started my business in digital, this is how I approached technology, is that I would follow the 4 things. I would only follow 4 things: the Internet of Things, mobile data, and social. Social was the ability to connect people to people. Mobile was the ability to meet people in their context. Data was to understand people. And the Internet of Things was to be able to use technology to connect to different products and services so I could serve my people better. And this is what I focused my business on for 6 or 7 years. And then something crazy started to happen. The exponential growth of different technologies took place. And now we see blockchain and 5G and robotics and artificial intelligence and nanotech and biometrics. And I've only mentioned a few of the many things that we could be speaking to today. And so what do we do with technology now? Because there are too many things to keep focused on. If I said to you now, look at the slide in 1 second and then stop looking at it, what do you remember? You will only come back with 1 or 2 of these things because there are too many things to focus on these days. So what do we focus on? It's the whole premise of my book, Human Centric, is that we have run out of things we have too many technologies to keep an eye on, that we can no longer become effective because we're constantly just researching the new technologies. So how do we build things that are human-centric and that are going to be successful in this world and that are going to make a difference for the world that we're in, especially post-pandemic? How are we going to do that if we're so blindsided by all the technology that's a part of us and a part of our world? We have to find a new way of doing this. And this is my suggestion, is that we don't look at the technologies, we look at these 3 things. This is all you need to look at. When you look at technology, when you look at marketing, when you look at anything that you're doing, just look at these 3 things: context, relationship, and intelligence. I'll unpack these slowly for you. So context is the environment in which people find themselves. Sensors and devices, analytics, all of these things paint a picture of where you are today. And so you can connect with customers when they need you, instead of hoping that they will remember you when they need you. We no longer need to. So a very classic example of this that happens to me all the time is that I'm on our local pizza company's database, and every Friday at lunchtime they send me a pizza restaurant, a pizza SMS. Of course I'm going to buy pizza. I'm hungry. It's Friday. I want to celebrate. And so that's an example of contextual marketing in its simplest form. But all of this technology allows us to understand so much more about our people. They're wandering around with phone devices in their pocket. We know where they are, what they're doing, what they're watching, where they're going. We know all of this information, and they've gladly given it to us to be able to manage and to be able to build better customer experiences. And so this is the map that we find ourselves in. That people are connecting to the cloud through their mobile devices, through their cell phones, through their watches, through all of these different pieces of technology. Sensors are being put onto non-technical objects, and they're being used to manage things. And all of these objects are connecting to computers, and all of this stuff is sitting in the cloud. And the cloud is where we can now start to bring and integrate all of this stuff together. And we can really start to understand the people in the bottom corner here better and use technologies to be able to notify them of the right things that are taking place. And so here's a couple of ideas of what context looks like in action. Think about this. We no longer watch TV the way we used to, and TV and movies and these things were the only ways in which we could engage around media. But now today, this is an example of one of the most engaging pieces of content in the world today is gaming, online gaming, and the way in which people connect around content is changing, and what they connect around has changed even more. We see niche setups of different groups where people are, because you're now connected to a much wider audience, you can have these niche setups. But on top of that, we also see these global phenomena growing where people are building these things out. So the channels that we use to communicate to customers have just proliferated and just become massive in the way in which we connect with people. And because of this, at best, at any time, the best you can do is have half the attention of your customer. If I'm sitting watching TV, chances are I also have my phone in front of my face. Why? Because I'm catching up on email or catching up on my family SMSs, and I'm watching the TV in the corner. And I'm doing that so the people that I'm talking to have half of my attention, and the movies that I'm watching have half of my attention. And then if you throw into that the fact that my watch is now beeping because I need to get up and walk somewhere, or my kids are rushing into the house, and all of this chaos is still happening around me while I'm now trying to read your ad message, at best, you've got half of my attention. So think of it like this. This picture that you've got here is a picture. It's a high zoomed in version of what Velcro looks like. The bottom side is the hooks. The top side are the furry bits. And think of the human brain as the hooks. And we sit there as human beings gathering information. And if you've only got half my attention, you're kind of just half grabbing a hook. One of your pieces of your messages are sticking and sticking and sticking and sticking. And over time, I build up an impression of who you are. So what we want to do as brands and what we want to do as marketers is find as many ways possible to connect with our customers to create more hooks. Because the faster we can create more hooks, the more hooks we can create, the more front of mind we become. But we can no longer rely on fancy adverts that look funny and that are amazing and they make us laugh and cry. We can't rely on that anymore because it's only one hook. We have to find other hooks. Digital remarketing is a hook. PPC marketing is a hook. SEO is a hook. All of these things are just hooks. So many people say, must I ditch everything I'm doing in the traditional marketing space for digital? No. Why? Because you're building hooks in your traditional space. You're building hooks in your digital space. You have to bring all of this together. We're marketing to human beings who, because of technology, have become at best half attention to us. At best, we have half their attention span. If that's the case, we need all the help we can get to get our message across clearly. Income streams have changed, and this is a really great opportunity. When technology came in and we started to see illegal downloads of music, the music industry went nuts, and we didn't want to see people downloading music, and it was theft and it was dangerous and all the rest. But what's happened is that the income streams have just moved. So if you look at the people that are making good money in the music industry, they're not interested in the fact that you downloaded their illegal copies. In fact, they want you to download their music. They're giving it away for free. Why? Because the more you like their music, the more chance there is that you're going to come to the to their concerts. And the more concerts you go to, the more people that go to the concerts, the more money they make. In fact, the biggest bands in the world today are making more money from concerts than the biggest bands in the world when we were trying to do royalties on music. And so the income streams have shifted. And when you look at marketing and sales, one of the things we have to ask ourselves is, are we boxing ourselves into a single income stream? Because if we are, it's dangerous. Because this post-pandemic world and technology in itself has created a space where we are now limited in resource. We need to think innovatively about where our income is going to come from. So now we're looking at relationship. So the other piece that I wanted to share with you. And relationships are all about how people connect. And they're new and they're different. And you can now, because of the Internet of Things, you can have relationships between objects. My computer can speak to my speakers. And there's a relationship involved there. There's a connection. And I need to start to try and understand the relationships that take place in the world. So previously it's context. So all the technology and everything that's happening in the world, I need to try and understand how a customer sits in the middle of that and when the right time is to use all those contextual things to connect with them. But when's the right time to connect with them from a relational point of view? You know, when we date people, no one's ever walked away from a date going, you know what I loved about that person is that I just found them so untrustworthy and you never really knew where they were coming from. We look for trust. We look to build relationships with people, and technology provides us an opportunity to do that. And so this is the time where I'm going to drop something in the link. So I'm just going to cancel the show. I'm just going to share some stuff here. No. I have to unshare. And I'm going to drop a link into the audience now. And you guys, if you click on this link, you can take a survey for me. I can just get a confirmation. I'm going to drop you. You should be seeing a page that looks like this. If someone can just confirm for me on the chat that that's what you're getting, that would be fantastic. Just a thumbs up or anything there, that would be great. And what I'm going to ask you to do, awesome, thank you. Now, all I'm going to ask you to do is this, is go to this page and ask yourself these questions. How credible is Coca-Cola on a scale of 1 to 10? How reliable is Coca-Cola on a scale of 1 to 10? How close do you feel to Coca-Cola as a brand on a scale of 1 to 10? And how selfish do you think this company is? And so then submit that number. And I'm going to pull all of these statistics in live. So let's see, I've had 4 respondents. Should be a whole bunch of other people in the chats that can help us here. So let's see, any more? 6 people have answered the question. And it's growing, 7, 8. This is exciting stuff. Let's keep going. Let's get some numbers in here. Let's see how this calculation works. And while you're putting these numbers in, I'm going to take you through what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to quickly share my screen again so you can see my presentation. So what I'm talking about here is these really smart people in the United States. They created this calculation that says trust is equity in leadership, and it's equity in marketing, and it's equity in communication, it's equity in brand. How much people trust you is directly related to whether they'll spend money with you, whether they'll follow you, whether they'll lead with you. And so here we go. Trust is credibility plus reliability plus intimacy, and then you divide that by the self-orientation. And so that's what we're doing with the Coca-Cola calculation is I'm asking you to rate the credibility of Coke, and then rate the reliability, and then rate their intimacy for you, and then rate their self-orientation. And we're going to get a trust score from Coca-Cola that's going to help us to understand why this brand does so well. And so we've now got 19. Let's do the numbers here quickly. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to share my video again. And I'm going to do this quick number for you. Okay, so the maths looks like this. We're going to go 7.5, and we're going to add that to 8.1, and we're going to add that to 6.7, and we're going to equal that. That's 22.3 divided by 5.7. And we've come up with a trust score of 3.91. Let me see if you can see that. There. $3.91. That's the number that came up. That's your trust score for Coca-Cola. And the interesting thing is it's a very high trust score in brands. And if I took in South Africa, if I asked you to do the same thing for Eskom, who provides our electricity, I've come to numbers that have been below 0.1 in some cases. And it's amazing how this trust calculation works every single time. This is such a quick and easy tool for you to use as marketers to establish how much brand you have online and how you're creating a perception of trust in what people think of you. And so as we go back to the presentation, what I'm trying to share with you is this, and it's very simple, is that in the world of relationship and in the world of technology, trust becomes one of the most important assets that we have to be able to leverage. And this calculation helps us to understand 4 simple things. Speak less about ourselves, build your credibility, make sure you're reliable, and build a more personal relationship with your customer. And so you've shown that in the survey. And so how do we do this in real life? Well, think about this. In a world of fake news, through all the political stuff that's going on, transparency and honesty have become a gem, something that we hold on to consistently. And at the end of the day, people trust people. So if you're sitting here trying to sell a product to consumers like a Coca-Cola can to a customer, trust is important. But if you're also trying to do business to business, trust is even more important in that case because people trust people. When Dropbox launched their business, they used this tool that said, if you use Dropbox and then you invite other people to it and they become paid subscribers, we will give you free data back. And so they gave them back something they wanted in life as those users, but they also then created an opportunity to leverage the network, the people they were connected to. Why? Because people trust people. If I send you a link to a product I like, chances are you're going to use it. And in 2008, they had 100,000 registered users. But look at these numbers. In 1 year, they went from 100,000 registered users to 4 million registered users. And 11 years, about, 8 years after that, they were valued at a $10 billion business doing $1 billion in revenue. That's a company that leveraged the relationships that we're in. And then here we talk about intelligence. And so intelligence is all about how do we enhance the contextual data that we have and that we own, and how do we make it more interesting to be more meaningful to people? How do we understand new trends that are taking place? How do we find new opportunities? How do we build triggers into that intelligence that automate the conversations that we need to build our businesses? So intelligence in action. Netflix uses previous movies that have been successful, and it maps that formula of what made it successful. And it uses that formula to find great selling movies to bring into their product. In South Africa, Discovery uses all of the data that they have with every insurance claim to help people consume wellness, to improve and drive recommendations for doctors, to break into new markets as they've just opened a new banking sector through the data that they're sitting with, to diversify into new products, not just into health insurance, but into life insurance, car insurance, all of these different things. And they use it phenomenally well to reduce fraud inside of those organizations. Finding a way to use intelligence to bring value back into your business is such an important piece. And so here's what I'm saying. Make your voice heard. And make it heard by meeting people in their new context, building trust and relationship, and unlocking intelligence to provide more convenient and useful tools and communications for your customers. If you jump on this link, hello.digitlab.co.za/consult, you can just fill in a form and gain access to a complimentary consult. It's about an hour long where we can talk through how to make this stuff happen in your business. And then also all of this work is the introduction to the work that I've done inside this book, Human Centric. And I really would encourage you to download it because it's something I am so passionate about, is how do we make technology something that people will consume that will make them more human and will make them more valuable as human beings at the end of the day. On that note, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I believe we'll start opening for some questions. I hope you've enjoyed that presentation.
Thank you very much, Mike Saunders. That was a wonderful presentation. I love, the thing that you did, the activity that you had, as linking and all that. That was fantastic. That shows how good you are at this technology and digital advertising industry. Before we get to the questions from our attendees, I just wanted to ask you on a few statements that I know you believe in. Obviously, you know the technology and believe that technology is key to success, and that it's what will drive human exposure and bring out the best of the human potential. However, you also say that if technology is not answering the needs of people, then it's useless. It needs to be human-centric. So how do we marry those two so that we're not on either extreme?
So I think something I want to make quite clear is that I don't believe that technology leads you to success. Okay. What I believe is this: technology accelerates your competitive edge. And so if you don't have a competitive edge, it's just going to accelerate the fact that you don't have a competitive edge. The more valuable you are, the more technology is going to help you get that to more and more people. And so what we find is that technology becomes a really powerful play that helps the successful, or those that are set up for success, to become uber successful because of the way in which we can scale that. But then what ends up happening is that so many people look at technology as this magical genie that's going to make everything happen for them. And that's where the problem lies, because people don't engage with technology for the sake of technology. People engage with technology in order to get the value that you're offering them. And so whatever that value is, that's what's important. And so businesses, like I do this all day with my clients, my customers. I'm not just here to help you implement technology. I'm here to accelerate the value that you have, because technology is an accelerator of value. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It accelerates value. It doesn't create. I like that, because I think a lot of times we put too much effort and too much focus on technology, and we forget that it's supposed to be about the people.
That's it.
So thank you very much for that clarification, sir. I want to go into a question from one of our attendees who says, do you see Africa as taking advantage of digital platforms, especially in light of a post-COVID world?
Yeah, I think that Africa does more with technology than people see. And that Africa is not necessarily pinpointed as the technology hub, because people are looking towards the States and San Francisco and the London centers and all of that sort of thing. But what I think people don't realize is that Africa has had no choice but to adopt technology in so many ways. And because of that, we tend to actually be a little bit further ahead in some ways in the way in which we adopt technology to live our lives. Whereas a lot of the technology that people focus on in the award-winning ads and all of these different things is technology that is really just bespoke to a few people. Whereas Africa has leveraged technology for the masses. And I'm not talking about like fancy phones in everyone's pocket. I'm talking about the fact that we bank through USSD and through mobile banking because we had to learn how to do that. We had to figure it out because it made sense to our communities and to our lives. And so there are many ways when you look at innovation and technology that Africa stands above the rest, but it's just not necessarily looking as sexy as what's coming out of the States and the UK in that respect.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that answer, Mike. So one of the attendees says, great insights over the context, relationship, and intelligence as new parameters to effective technological marketing. Are these operated in isolation or must always be blended to obtain optimum results?
Yeah. So later in my book, I speak about this thing that I call intersections. And so think about it like this. If you've got a retail store, you're going to put it on the intersection. You're going to put it at the crossroad, because if you could pick anywhere to go, because that's where the most foot traffic is. And so I believe the same thing is, if you could find a product or a solution that intersects on intelligence, relationship, and context, you've got much higher chances of success. So they're not treated in isolation. And in fact, it's almost impossible to look at a technological world now in isolation inside those factors. They all blend, but they just give us different lenses to look at the same world through. And when we can see those lenses having a common theme in them, that's very often where the opportunity lies.
Okay, great. A follow-up question to that. With the advancement of technology, do we really see success in emerging companies or SMEs given the escalating investment costs to attain meaningful value?
Yeah, so this is a question I get asked a lot. Sometimes it just in many different ways, but it kind of gets to the same point, is that how much do we invest in technology before the value has been completely superseded for the business? And this is one of the reasons that I say you have to consider the people that you're connecting with. So let me give you a practical example. I remember building a $1 million app, and that application became a massive failure in that business world. And I remember when I walked in, I said, guys, let's go small. Let's build something, get it sold, make some revenue, build it up as we go. And their mandate was no, build the whole thing, invest the money, and then we'll take it to market. And so they had this massive investment cost associated to their business that they struggled to recoup over time. And then I remember taking another business thing where we put 50,000 Rand into a project and we delivered the work. And then when we put 50,000 Rand and we delivered the work, it was a small piece of the project. And that turned into R1 million a year, at least in profit line. So the amount that you invest into technology does not equate to the amount of revenue and return on investment that you're going to get. I've watched companies invest 3,000 Rand to generate 300,000 Rand into technology. The technology race isn't about how much you spend. It's about spending it in the right places to add value to people's lives.
Wow, wow. $1 million app that didn't go how you wanted it to go. That must have been really good lessons that you learned there, Mike. So fantastic. Thank you for that. Maybe before I go to the next question, you can tell people how to reach you in terms of reaching you online on the different handles that you have.
Sure. So my social media handle is Mike A. Saunders. My full name is Michael Alexander Saunders. So it's Mike A. Saunders. And that's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, that's everywhere. So you can connect with me on all of those channels.
Fantastic. Mike A. Saunders, easy to remember. I want to ask you about the Digit Lab Academy and how someone would be able to get into that, get learnings, get feedback. Do you do online courses or somebody get to come to, Durban, or how does that work?
Yeah, so what we did is we went a slightly different approach with the Digital Lab Academy. A lot of digital businesses approached it in the sense that they wanted to launch their own online training courses and do all of that thing. What we felt we wanted to do was get in on the ground level with universities and provide up-to-date, valid digital content, because we were finding that universities, through the accreditation processes, were being forced to provide sort of like unvaluable content to people who were learning digital, because the process itself meant that it would take 18 months to approve content. So if you were studying today, that content's 2 years old. So we wanted to answer that question. And so what we did is we entered into a licensing agreement with a local college called Vega, and they deliver the content and they produce the content and sell it. And so you can do those courses there, social media marketing and digital brand strategy. And then we actually generate and provide all of the content for that in licensing agreements with universities. So it's not something that you can do directly with us unless you're a client of ours, in which case we do corporate training in that case. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. I know there are corporates listening in today and all very interested in getting some information and learnings and education on digital learning and digital marketing, and how we can be able to harness digital marketing and redefine the pillars of marketing in the new normal. And you have really exposed the theme for the Marketing Week 2020, how we can be able to make this crisis turn it into an opportunity in terms of the digital space. So any last words you have before we let you go?
Yeah, I think if I could leave you with something, this year has been the toughest year on the entire economy around the globe. It's been something that has hit everybody. No one has been left unscathed in any way, either through death of family members and friends and family in that respect, or just economic downfall, businesses going under. But what I've learned leading a team through this is that people are resilient, businesses are more resilient than we think. And that if anything, we've learned so much out of this crisis that we need to take cognizance of the difficult things that have taken place so that we can learn from them. And going into 2021, we can build a new base, a new type of business, a new type of infrastructure, a new economy that will withstand the next pandemic, because it will come. And so for me, 2020 has been a big learning curve that has opened up opportunities that we will be able to leverage in the future. But it is so sour to our mouths at the moment that it is difficult for us to see it as a blessing in disguise. And I think that we need to try and find ways to allow it to do that, to allow those learnings to settle in our hearts and for us to move forward in our businesses and in our lives going together.
Sorry, Mike, to take you back to questions after giving such a wonderful, last parting shot.
That's cool.
But there's somebody who is asking, how can I access your books? And also with regards to social media marketing for an upcoming online business, how can you do that? If you got an online business that you want to set up, how do you market it using social media? And also, how can one access the books that you have?
Okay, let me start with the first, the books one. The easiest way for you guys to get hold of my books would be via Amazon Kindle. They're all available there in digital versions, and Amazon will deliver my first two books, 5-Year Mark and Renowned. They'll deliver them internationally. Unfortunately, my print versions are only in South Africa at the moment. If you're South African and you're listening in, you can get them at stores. They're all in stores at the moment, or you can get it online. But the easiest way is to grab any of the Kindle versions online on Kindle. If you go to Kindle and search my name, Mike Saunders, you'll find my profile. You'll be able to see all the books that I've authored. In terms of marketing your business on social media, I would advise this. Don't market your business on social media if your business isn't going to work on social media. Social media is an incredible platform to create exposure. It's an incredible platform to build relationship, but it's a very difficult platform to drive leads and sales out of. And so very often people go there thinking they're going to sell more product because of it. But where we see people succeeding a lot in social media is in the business-to-business space, because they use the platforms to build their personal brand, which is what my book Renowned is all about. They use those platforms to build personal brand. And by building personal brand, they build influence around their community and they build a business through that. And so that's a very powerful way to use social media. But if you're selling more cans of Coca-Cola, as an example, people aren't going to buy Coca-Cola from a Facebook page. They're going to go into other routes. And so be very aware of what you're trying to achieve inside social media. I've found social media to be an incredible place to launch a business. I launched 3 of my businesses through social media. But the reason they worked was because all of those businesses relied on the fact that I needed to build influence to attract customers to come and buy from me. But where I've seen other businesses fail in social media is when they're trying to sell something that isn't easily available in social media or not readily accepted inside social media channels. And so step in with caution. Make sure this is where your customer wants to find you. If it is, then go for it. If it isn't, then maybe look at some other channels.
That is a great point, Mike, because we really run to social media every time we have a business idea, and we're trying to get traction and trying to get people, trying to get traffic. So that's really good for you to kind of, tell us that, yes, you can do that to build relationships, but really if you're looking to meet the bottom line, then that's probably not the best place. So thank you very much for sharing that wisdom and that insight, Mike. Really appreciate it.
Absolute
and
pleasure.
Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for taking time to put together such an elaborate, insightful, colorful presentation. And thank you for all your expertise that we will be paying thousands and thousands of dollars to see at an international conference somewhere. So thank you very much for allowing the Zim to invite you and accepting the invitation. And we look forward to next time, sir.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I've enjoyed every minute of it. And see your delegates on social.
Thank you, sir.
Keep well. Cheers.
We will be...
I pledge to make every beer moment a responsible one.
I pledge not to drink and drive.
I pledge against gender-based violence.
I pledge to enjoy responsibly. I pledge against underage drinking.
I pledge to observe a meter distance when drinking from approved locations.
It is your turn to take a stand. Please take the responsible pledge by sharing this video with hashtag responsible together.
Do more with your Indo-Zambia bank account by activating your Indo Mobile and Net Banking. Our Indo Mobile and Indo Net Banking is the most convenient and safest way for you to do your banking needs from anywhere 24 hours a day. Make bill payments and fan transfers, buy airtime, bank to wallet transfers, purchase forex, request statements, monitor accounts, and much more. So do more, stay safe, transact cashless with our Indo Mobile and Net Banking. Indo-Zambia Bank, supporting you, developing Zambia.
Welcome back from that ad break. We have come to the end of day 4 in terms of our presentations. And as a matter of fact, overall, for the Marketing Week 2020, those were the last 2 presentations. We'll meet again tomorrow at 1400 hours, 2 p.m. Zambia time, so that we can do the CSR event presentation. F&B and the Zambia Institute of Marketing partnered, and we were able to visit the School of Differently Abled Children at the University Teaching Hospital, UTH. So we have that for you tomorrow. We'll be able to show that event. We'll have representatives from F&B to give us more information on why that school was selected, what happened, what did they give, and the feedback and the responses that they got from the staff at that particular school. Thank you so much to our speakers of today, Noktula Magwaza, aka Knox, and thank you very much to Mike Saunders for coming through all the way from KZN, Durban, South Africa, across the borders to give us those wonderful insights about digital advertising and having, building and growing your career using creativity. And also Mike Saunders talking to us about our theme, Opportunity in Crisis, redefining the pillars of marketing, or redesigning the pillars of marketing in the new normal. Thank you to you, our attendees and the panelists and everyone that was able to tune in, all those questions, all the comments, all the feedback. We don't take it for granted. Thank you very, very much for being available and tuning in from your busy schedules. Tomorrow, we are back at 1400 hours at 2 p.m. Let us finish strong. Let us wrap up this Marketing Week strong. So invite a friend to invite another friend to register. If they're not registered, it's okay. They can register even if it's the last day, so that we can be in numbers for the CSR event that we will have. Thank you very much again for being with us. I have been your Director of Programs, Abraham, Media Manager at Ipsos, and I will be back here tomorrow again to wrap up the Marketing Week 2020, courtesy of the Zambia Institute of Marketing, where marketing is a key to prosperity. See you tomorrow.
pledge to make every beer moment a responsible one.
I pledge not to drink and drive.
I pledge against gender-based violence.
I pledge to enjoy responsibly. I pledge against underage drinking.
I pledge to observe a meter distance when drinking from approved locations.
It is your turn to take a stand. Please take the responsible pledge by sharing this video with #ResponsibleTogether.